beautiful day for racing at one of America's most picturesque race circuits, Road America. In Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin is the site for round 6 of the Star Mazda Championship presented by Goodyear. Hi everybody, Ralph Shaheen alongside sports car superstar Johnny O'Connell as we get set to go racing. And we've had 4 different winners in 5 races so far this season, Johnny, with only John Edwards racking up 2 checkered flags.
Which is very unusual for Star Mazda racing. We look in past years, and by this time you've got a dominant player, you know, whether it be a Matos or you know, there are so many drivers. But, you know, right now one of the guys that's on a tear is John Edwards.
And Edwards won race number 2 at Portland, becoming the first 2-time winner of the season, and he's with Jamie Howe.
John Edwards is on pole for the 2nd time this season. John, Road America is a very long racetrack. What's going to be important to staying out front today?
I think restarts are going to be key today. There's a lot of gravel traps here, so if anything happens and you go off, you're pretty much stuck, and that's a safety car. And once the field's bunched up, we're going to all be fighting for it on the restart with all these long straights. So I think that's going to be the tough part. I think once we're strung out and I have a little bit of a gap, I'll be able to hold that. But it's going to be tough to pull out a gap on the restarts.
The Portland weekend, not a good one for Peter Dempsey. Very bumpy for him, but much smoother here at Road America. Peter now with Jamie Howe.
Peter Dempsey starting 2nd today. You've had a little bit of a rough weekend. You missed the final practice going into qualifying. Is the car and everything ready for the race?
Yeah, most definitely. Anderson Racing, they did a fantastic job in changing engines. We had a bit of a rough start to the weekend and a bit of a rough end to Portland, but fingers crossed he can make amends for it now this weekend and hopefully give the team and the boys a win for doing a fantastic job in getting the car back together.
Tom Gladys brings a bunch of momentum with him to Road America. He picked up the win in the first of the doubleheaders at Portland. He's hoping to continue that here this weekend at Road America on the longest circuit of the season. Tom Gladys now with Jamie Howe.
Tom starting 3rd. You told me earlier today you were a little disappointed in qualifying, but qualifying's over, it's behind you. How are you going to get around the front 2 cars and win the race today?
Well, the biggest thing is getting a good start. I didn't have the best of starts, but I improved them in Portland. But the biggest thing is the start's the main thing. Is if you don't get a good start, you're pretty much ruined. But this track isn't really too bad considering the straights. You can get a good tow and hopefully get past them. But I think everyone's going to be swapping around for the first couple of laps at least. And I think if someone don't get a gap, I think it's going to be a very tough race, as you saw with the Atlantics. So I think it's mainly the start and just get a good tow and just try and pull a gap. But we'll see. It'd be good to get a podium. If not, if anything better than that, it's just a bonus really, isn't it?
Johnny, is not all about race wins. Consistency is a big part of it. Joel Miller does have a victory this year, but he's been Mr. Consistent, and he is the points leader.
And that's how you win championships. I mean, he's done a great job, qualified 4th here, had an amazing pass at Portland. He's definitely one of the superstars of this series we need to watch.
Not a huge lead, just 1 over Charles Hall. Tom Gladys only 9 markers back, and Alex Ardoin within 20 as well in 4th.
You know, Ralph, historically here we have seen some amazing races, you know, and especially when they're clean. One of the problems with this track being so long is if a guy goes off into the gravel, gets stuck, we lose a lot of laps. So hopefully that's not going to happen today, and we're going to see some of the brightest young talent show their stuff to us here on Speed.
We'll be right back for the green from Road America right after this. Field out on the racetrack, warming up those Goodyears, getting ready to go racing. We expect nothing but a great show from the Star Mazda competitors here on this very picturesque setting here in Wisconsin. Let's show you our starting grid for today's race. A couple of drivers we already introduced you to. Starting on the front row, John Edwards and Peter Dempsey.
And moving back to row number 2, you've got Tom Gladys and Joel Miller.
Next row back in row number 3, we find Charles Hall and Alex Ardoin, a couple of drivers in the top 5 of the points battle.
And on row number 4, Scott Reddick and Chao Lara.
You know, Johnny, as we take a look at row 5, we'll find Taylor Hackard there alongside of Rusty Mitchell. And this racetrack here at Road America, the longest one we'll see all season.
And Ralph, it presents challenges not just for drivers but engineers as well. We have very long straightaways where you can trim your car out, lay the wings down, you go real fast in a straight line, but then you can't brake, you can't make the corners quickly. Another way to go, put some aero into it. Okay, you go through the corners like where they are right now, the carousel, the kink coming up where you can go through so quickly, but you have a hard time getting down the straightaway. So you see a lot of sacrifices going on here that drivers and engineers are making.
Well, there was some good news for the competitors and the fans of the Star Mazda Championship this weekend. There's a new contract to keep this series racing at some of the best tracks in the country. Here's Jamie with more on the details.
The Star Mazda Series is currently in their 18th year of competition. Their contract with Mazda was due to expire at the completion of this season, but today Robert Davis, the Vice President of Mazda North America Operations, announced a 5-year extension with Star Race Cars for the Star Mazda Championship. This contract will get them through the year 2013, and at the completion of that season, it will be a 23-year partnership for the two companies, one of the longest partnerships in American racing.
I think that's great news, Johnny. It's been one of the best ladder series in the country.
In the world. And I got to tell you, the fact that the Rodriguez family, Gary Rodriguez, pulled that off and created is amazing. As we look at Road America, where are we going to see a lot of action today? Well, it's going into turn 1 at the start. Rarely do we get through there and Star Mazda clean. But once you get out of 3, you've got another long straightaway going into 5, one of the best overtaking areas that we have on the racetrack. Okay, turn 8. Any place that you have hard braking, we're going to see passing going on here. But you've got the kink. You've got so many challenging corners here. Canada Corner, this place everybody loves to drive.
And before you can even get down to Canada Corner, you got to survive the standing start. Here we go with a standing start from Road America. The Star Mazda Championship getting set to get underway with round number 6.
Everybody getting lined up. It's always, I look in the background, you see the wreckers there.
Yeah.
That lets you know that they're anticipating, a lot of chaos in the first corner, especially at the front, because these guys need to win. They need to be competitive, and they're thinking championships. Good start by Edwards. You see Dempsey taking a peek to the outside. This is the dicey part, getting through turn 1.
Oh, contact there. 2 cars off into the gravel.
You can see how deep that gravel is, too, in that shot.
That's Taylor Hackard and Rusty Mitchell up there. And we already talked, Johnny, about how... Wow, look at all the dust getting kicked up here.
Now, that is the exit of turn 3. And, having run this weekend, we built up a little of a pothole there. It's not going to really upset the cars, though, but you will see that spray of dust coming out.
Johnny, it's going to be very difficult for Hackard and Mitchell to get out of that gravel trap.
Oh, look at Peter Dempsey, the Irishman on a charge. He wants that lead from Edwards.
We'll have to see if this one stays green.
Yeah, I'd say, odds are, you look at our past history here. Man, Dempsey really working that car. Our past history says no. They're going to have to go full course caution to get those cars out of there.
Edwards with Dempsey on a charge.
Yeah, but the one thing when you talk about John Edwards, every time he's been at the front, he has not been able to look back because he's just been able to pull away. The guy is really strong.
Well, there's the full course caution. And here comes the crane. And let's see what happened here.
Looks like Hacker just got into the Mitchell there on the outside. And when you're starting out like this, remember, cold tires and no tire pressure, that kind of thing will happen.
Yep. And there you see Taylor Hackard out of this one already. Just watching as the crane picks up his car and looks like they're just going to pick him up. He's still in the car there. Mitchell. They're just going to pick him up and put him back out there.
Like playing slot cars when you're a kid.
Exactly. We'll be right back. John Edwards. More slot car racing here on Speed. Monday nights are a car lover's dream come true with 101 cars you must drive. From the stunning to the most unusual. Each car has a story, and comedian Alonzo Bowden tells them all like no one else can. 101 cars you must drive with Alonzo Bowden. Monday nights, 9 Eastern, only on Speed. This will be a pretty fun car to drive. The Star Mazda Championship machine with that Renesis engine in there. The rotary power plant you can find at a RX-8 at your local Mazda dealer. And those grippy Goodyear tires all tucked into a very nice chassis. Makes for a great race car.
And this is going to be sweet because we have some very strong drivers at the front. Not just one, not just two, but you've got about 5 or 6 guys up there, okay, that are going to be competitive. You get the restart here. Dempsey making a move to the inside of Edwards. He should be able to get him.
He's got Joe Miller. Here comes Miller swinging out. Oh, this is going to narrow down to
Miller
Harry.
pulled it off. Really nicely done. Edwards from first to fourth.
Boy, Miller did a great job. Look at Dempsey coming back.
Oh, the kid is just being so aggressive. He was aggressive going down into turn 5 on that opening lap. So hungry for a win. These guys behind him have wins.
Charles Hall in there as well in the 77 car. He sits in 3rd.
You see him right behind his teammate trying to pick up a toe. Oh, a little bit of defending lines going in there.
Here comes Dempsey.
I think that's Hall.
That's Dempsey inside. Dempsey makes the move. Puts the 23 up a spot into the lead.
A little bit late turning in there, Dempsey was. That's a very hard corner going into turn 6 and 7 like that.
Now let's see if anybody can hang with him. As you know, he's going to up the pace. There's Alex Ardoin.
You know, Ardoin, one of these guys that we really figure should have won a race by now this season. Very strong competitor.
Ardoin has the orange wing. Lara has the green one right behind him.
There you go through the very fast carousel. You're going up through the gearbox in the top gear right now. Here's the kink. Everything's right. That's flat out.
Nobody in this front group's going to be lifting. Down to Canada corner. See how good your brakes are.
Down to 3rd, maybe 2nd gear for this corner. Finish, you know, very just beautiful flowing racetrack. The Europeans that come over here, this is immediately their favorite racetrack in North America. A little bit of side-by-side stuff there in the back. All right, right now we're in a good place because everyone is kind of stringed out. We got through this lap, so hopefully we can go the rest of the way with no cautions. But you can see these long, long straightaways that allows you to draft and get that toe, make that move to the inside or outside going into the corner.
Dempsey trying to gap the rest of the field in his number 21. There you see Miller in the 20. Charles Hall and then Edwards right behind him in the white and red car.
All right, now they need to be careful. If Dempsey gets a little bit further out, they're not going to be able to pick up a toe or anything. And what Dempsey is hoping is that these guys behind them start battling. Miller defending the inside. Oh, Hall, well done. Well done. See if Miller can get him back up the inside. Not going to work this time. And then you got John Edwards, our pole sitter, sitting back there in 4th, being nice and patient. He knows that there's a lot of activity going on in front of him. Sometimes you get mixed up in that fray, and a whole bunch of cars get taken out.
So our lead duo right now, the teammates running 1 and 2 with Dempsey and Hall. But look at the gap that Dempsey's opened up already.
You know what? But if these guys behind them start working together, they can run that gap down. We also don't know what's going to go on with Dempsey's car. He might, go loose. He might go tight. A lot of things can happen here.
Or he might just disappear.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that happen at this racetrack as well.
And of course, that battle over second is a battle for the points lead, just separated by 1 coming into the day. Joel Miller, who runs in 3rd in that blue and black car, was 1 point in front of the man right in front of him, Charles Hall.
And those guys know that. I mean, if you don't, realize that, as a competitor, you're out there and you know that this guy that you're in with is your main competitor for the championship, you play things differently sometimes. You might not throw the high-risk move on him that you might on a competitor that is not in a championship hunt.
Here comes Miller, looking up the inside.
Well done.
Nice move.
Classically done. Use that toe. Be nice and patient about it. Hall, okay, being patient right back, letting him have it, knowing he'll have another chance.
Peter Dempsey not patient at all. He's trying to disappear on the field. Welcome back to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Ralph Shaheen alongside Johnny O'Connell and Jamie Howe covering the action for us down on pit lane. This is the Star Mazda Championship round number 6. Battle over 3rd.
Man, Edwards made a really good move there. Hall trying to fight back. Nothing he can do about it. You know, and again, this is when you want a good crew chief, a guy saying, listen, plenty of time. Edwards taking a peek to the inside there.
Here he comes.
Forces it in there, and, you know, again, this might be too.
Oh, boy, just bouncing over the curbing is Hall.
You know, and this is a time when you got to have a crew chief that is saying to you, listen, long way to go. Be patient. They'll come back to you.
Well, Edwards locking it up.
Getting it a little bit deep there.
Johnny, he had gone from first to fourth. Now he goes from fourth to second.
Yeah, but you know what? Hopefully he's getting good coaching, like I said, on the radio. Again, these guys are very smart. You see, knowing all that fighting has allowed him to catch up, close a little bit of gap to these guys. And we've seen Dempsey check out, okay, and he's going to keep checking out as long as these guys are beating up on each other.
Yeah, that gap is getting bigger.
Going down in the Canada corner right there. Edwards looking nice and clean.
Well, look at this battle behind him. That's a fight over 7th and 8th.
I think that's Lara and Reddick there doing battling. Now, you know what? I remember, I think it was last year or the year before, we had a competitor, and his style of driving was to go down these straightaways, weaving side to side.
Yep.
And, man, it looks like we're full course caution. And you don't like seeing that kind of stuff, but what happened right there, just decided to take the inside, make a competitor go around the outside of you, that's totally cool.
Not sure what the caution is for just yet. Safety car is out. We hear it's Chris Cumming, who is off on the racetrack. Not sure. Oh, there he is, the expert points leader.
And that is at the exit of turn 7, I believe. So he might have got up on the curbs on the exit there. That's usually how you get around and wind up in that type of position.
Well, you can see Chris standing off behind the wall, taking his helmet off. So that's a good sign. He's been able to crawl out of the car.
It doesn't look like there's much damage there, you know, as you see the IMSA crew come up to him. The IMSA crew, they're kind of like your next door neighbor when you're playing catch with your son. He throws it into the neighbor's yard, and you're like, little help here? Yeah, that's the little help here crew.
It's also a little bit of how did you get over here, huh?
Yeah, you know, I'm sure he's a little bit frustrated. My guess, you know, and I don't know whether he have it or not right there, that's Dr. Greg Somerville. He is the medical doctor here for IMSA, but he's just giving a quick look over, but my guess, got up on the curbs on the exit, and around she went.
Well, you know, the Star Mazda Championship, just one step up the ladder to big-time racing that Mazda's put together. Dane Cameron won this title last year and has moved on to another Mazda powered division. He's standing by with Jamie Howe.
Dane Cameron back in pit lane for a Star Mazda race. You won the championship last year. Here watching Joel Miller for JDC this weekend, but you've had a good weekend as well. How's Atlantic's going?
It's going really well. I mean, it's definitely a big step up, and we've been learning a lot every weekend. The last couple weekends it really started to swing our way, and we got to get our first pole and our first podium today, actually, right before this race. So really happy with that, and Joel's doing a fantastic job, and he's doing everything he needs to do to win the championship. Won the first race, and all he's really got to do is keep finishing in front of the guys who are behind him in points, and he'll hopefully can take on the championship also.
As you move up that Mazda speed development ladder, how important has Mazda been to you over the last several years?
I mean, it's been really helpful. I learned so much last year in Star Mazda, and it really prepared me pretty well for Formula Atlantic, and now just them giving me the opportunity to compete in a full season of Formula Atlantic has been fantastic. And you know, we're getting better and better every race, and now we're top 5 in the points, and hopefully we can get up to the top 3. We still got 5 races to go, so we'll see what we can do.
You proved last year that consistency is what wins the championship, and you did it in your rookie year. Now that these guys are almost halfway through the season, what advice would you give them?
I mean, Joel has really proved a point already in being consistent. He's been on the podium almost every single race, and that's basically the thing we learned a lot last year. My dad's been working on him pretty hard for that. It's just you got to finish every race, and you got to finish on the podium if you can. If you got a 4th place car, you finish 4th, hopefully 3rd, but definitely not 5th.
Johnny, you spent time both in Formula Mazda back then and Atlantics as well.
Yeah, you know what? He is definitely a superstar coming up. I just want to know who the heck told him he could stand in my pits.
As long as he's not sitting in your car. We'll be back. Star Mazda Championship here at round number 6 at Road America. The halfway point in this race.
Yeah, and Dempsey hated that. I mean, he had a big lead built up, and now everybody's packed up behind him. John Edwards, who got snaked on the 2nd lap, he's looking for revenge. These guys behind him, all right? Every opportunity exists for them now. These first 4, 5 guys, it's going to be an awesome race.
Charging up that hill.
Ardoin with a good start there.
That's him with the orange wings. Here he comes. That's Charles Hall that he's wrestling with. And that would definitely have implications in the points because the car right in front of Ardoin now, as he gets around Hall, is Joel Miller. And Miller and Hall.
And Ardoin there defending a little bit. And how do I know that? Well, because I'm watching Ardoin's head. He's looking to the right. Okay, seeing if Hall was making that inside move. There's that pothole we were talking about, and that's going to hurt him.
Did you see how crossed up the front wheels were on Hall when he went through that hole?
Unbalanced his car. Right there, you see Gladys moving inside Hall. That little mistake on a long straightaway like this might have given him the opportunity, but he looks like he ducked back behind.
Here
Hall
he
to
comes.
the inside of Ardoin.
Got it right back. Remember, Hall and Miller right in front of him in the blue and black car, separated by 1 point in the championship with Miller as the title leader.
Each of them knowing that, Ardoin knowing that as well, and Ardoin can use that to his advantage, throwing a lower percentage move on Hall.
You got 3 Anderson racing cars in the top 6. First, 4th, and 6th. That's a good day.
Yeah, but that happens when you have good drivers and everybody sharing information. I'm sure their setups are all very similar to each other. Looks like Dempsey at the front has opened a little bit of a gap on Edwards.
Gladys now trying to find a way around Ardoin.
Now, he was close enough there exiting the kink that going down the Canada corner, he can pick up a toe.
We heard earlier in the day that restarts would be key, but it has not been a problem for Dempsey. He is just taking off again. Edwards trying to keep him in sight in that red and white car, but not having a whole lot of luck just yet.
Coming out of 14, everyone looking nice. Oops.
Stuffed into the wall is a 24 car of J.C. Kester.
And that is, that's in Canada corner. A lot of times, you know, it's a little bit of bumpy in the braking zone there. You'll see guys try an overtaking maneuver to the inside, not be able to make the corner. That's my guess at what happened there. And then once again, we're going to go full course caution here. So once again, you've got Dempsey saying, oh, man.
Yeah, doing all that work to get a big lead on the field, and he's going to have to do it again.
Yeah, you know what, and that's one of those deals. What it looked like, he was being passed on the inside, got off a little bit into the marbles, couldn't make that car turn anymore.
Now we're getting word there's another incident as well involving the 45 of Jason Winkemulder. That one a little bit harder.
And that's just finishing the corner. You know what? One thing you need to do as a race car driver, you look at a racetrack, you see those corners where there are a lot of skid marks finishing the corner. That's where people wreck. And when you look at turn 14, you'll see a lot of skid marks that the car slides to the inside.
And there's Kester. Well, Winkemulder shortened up his car. I wish he would have shortened up his name a little bit.
Well, would have made your job easier. I'll just say white car.
Yeah, very well done. So Kester is being attended to. Well, you can see how deep that gravel trap is, too.
Both these guys, their hits weren't that big, so I'm sure they'll be okay. Can't say the same for their cars. And at the front, we're going to still have an awesome battle.
We'll take care of some business ourselves, and we'll be right back. See if Peter Dempsey can hold off John Edwards and the rest. Thursday night, get wrecked on speed. Ride shotgun with the crew who cleans up the ugly mess left behind by Chicago motorists. From extracting a car wedged in a house to handling angry customers, no job is too tough for O'Hare Towing. Wreck Life in the Crash Lane back-to-back episodes Thursday night beginning at 10 Eastern, exclusively on Speed.
You know, we ought to do our own show, and we'll call it Fixed. They wreck them, we fix them. Make a little extra money.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
We're going to have another one called Green here in a second.
Dempsey, you know what? Really did a great job pulling the trigger, opening up a gap to Edwards. Edwards sleeping a little bit, not anticipating that restart well enough. You see Hall right there, tucked underneath the gearbox.
Ardoin in the pack as well with those orange wings on the black car. Look at the battle back here. It continues.
Somebody was making
that's Laura on that.
Ardoin there, though, making a move to the inside of Hall into 3. Oh, that's tight.
You got your race leader, Dempsey. In front, here comes Hall, trying to get around Miller. Remember those two battling for the championship, separated by 1 point. Into the turn, and it comes out with Hall in the position.
You know, Hall has been very strong on the brakes going into turn 5, and that almost leads you to believe that he might have a little bit more downforce than his competitors. You know, we think about downforce and we think it just makes you go fast and, you know, slower in a straight line. But one of the things it does, it allows you have downforce in your car, you can brake later.
Field all streaming through, making their way over to the carousel. There you see the 22 machine. He was involved in an incident at the very beginning of the day. That's Rusty Mitchell. It was our slot car, if you remember. Picked him up and put him right back on.
And he's still going well. Back up in front, nobody is going better than Dempsey. I mean, opening up a gap. But this time you see Edwards has closed that gap. He's running closer to him.
And a good battle for third going on behind him.
Look at that. Miller defending that inside line. Oh, they're going to be close there.
Wow, and Hall right in the middle as well. Gladys in there. Boy, Hall gave enough room too, Johnny. He could have really squeezed them.
Yeah, but then you both lose. He did a nice job. Again, remember, he's got his competitor Gladys there behind him. With these long straightaways, you have the benefit of being able to chill, take a breath, knowing that you're going to be able to pick up that toe of your competitor. And right there, what you see him doing is coming up behind Ardoin. You get in the topper gears, you get into that little tunnel there, come up to the braking zone. He's setting it up right now and move to the inside. And there's really nothing that Ardoin can do there.
No.
And so, you know, and if you do this well, you can close distance to those competitors in front of you.
Lara trying to come in from behind. Ardoin's teammate, black car with the green wing. Well, Ardoin dips a wheel hard.
And you ask yourself, does that hurt the car? Well, the car doesn't love that. You know, it's strong enough to endure all that, but, you know, that is, you never know. Sometimes you will get a failure. You repeatedly beat up your car.
Under braking, you see Ardoin smoking the toe. Oh, here's a big one under brakes.
Oh, that was the old Hail Mary. I'm going to come in there, turn in early.
And hope for the best.
And hope for the best.
And it almost worked. Picked up a spot and then lost it right back.
As you see, typical Star Mazda racing, we got battles going on completely through the field. Hard to see who's got the wing askew there. You hear more tires locking up going into turn 8.
This Goodyear's taking a tough beating out here today. As we look at the 66 of Richard Zober working his way through the field, but nobody has anything for Peter Dempsey so far here today in Wisconsin. Back to the racing action here at Road America. This is the Star Mazda Championship's 6th round of competition, halfway through the 2008 season.
Oh, somebody with a wing askew there.
That's the 33 car, Johnny. That's Natalia Kowalska.
And that here is going to kill you just because aero-wise, as you get back to the front up there, I think that's Ardoin. But you are so aero-sensitive, so aero-important here on these long straightaways.
There's Gladys. He qualified 3rd here this weekend. Now here's 7th, 8th, and 9th right behind him. In this group, you have the 19 car of Kyle Lara, the 17 machine of Scott Redditch, and the 18 machine of Ernesto Otero.
All having a really good run. I guarantee you, though, Gladys a little bit frustrated. You know, he had a very strong car at Portland. He probably wanted to carry that momentum in here. As you see, Dempsey is on fire. But Gladys really probably came into this event saying, okay, I can keep this momentum going. And but, you know, you see this often. The competitors see that. They raise their game. And right now we've got our normal protagonists at the front showing their stuff.
Oh, another one off into the gravel traps. That's Taylor Hackert in the 15. It's the 2nd time he's been off the racetrack today, qualified 9th.
That's one of those good news, bad news things to the crew. You know, I've got good news, car's not hurt. The bad news is I'm stuck in the gravel.
Wow, look how tight that... Oh, there's some wheel contact.
I think there was a yellow flag by the bridge there. I don't know whether it just come out or not.
Full course caution is out. That was the 17 of Redditch forcing his way through around Lara. And Otero came right with him.
Well, I don't know whether they're going to get a replay on that one, but there was a very, very aggressive move there. Both making the move to the inside and then a move to the outside to kind of intimidate.
And you can see all that gravel just piled up around the car.
Well, the Wolf Auto Group is appreciating this.
See what happened here, Johnny.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what, it looks like Otero got into the back of him in there. And going into 14, you know, boy, not a good situation. That's twice for him today getting helped off a racetrack. So he's got to be pretty frustrated, but, you know, hopefully they can pull the slot car back out, get him back on the track, and he'll be good to go.
I always like to get some more inside information on our drivers in the Star Mazda Championship. So this week's question of the week, if you weren't a race car driver, what would you be?
I'd probably just be like every other 19-year-old at this point in their life, going through school, trying to figure out what exactly they do want to do with their life. And I'd probably come up with the same answer as all of them. I don't know yet.
If I wasn't going to be a race car driver, I'd probably like to be an aircraft pilot, land on the aircraft carriers and do a few tricks, but yeah, seems good fun.
I think I'd have to go with a Christmas tree salesman. I mean, think about it. Tons of money, you only have to work 1 month out of the year, and you're always outside. Can't beat that.
I would be probably working on a Star Mazda car. My dad owns a race team at home, and all I know is mechanics and race cars, so that's what I'd be doing.
Well, actually, right now I'm going to school to get into med school in 2 years, so I'm planning on like specializing in some kind of surgery, maybe like cancer for cancer kids or something like that, so I'm actually pursuing both at the moment.
If I weren't driving, I think I'd be, I'd probably be watching my kids. I'm driving in the Expert Series, and that puts me in the 30 to 43 category, and that means I have 3 children, and I'm chasing them around if I'm not racing.
How about you, Johnny?
Bass fisherman. There's a future in being a professional bass fisherman. That's where I'm going.
We're going to break. We'll be right back after this. Fired up about all the twists and turns in the world of motorsports? Well, Dave and his guests certainly are. So jump online or grab the phone and give Dave a piece of your mind. Don't miss Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain. Sunday, live, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, only on Speed.
Right, now this is going to be so mega cool because so far Edwards has not been able to match Dempsey on these restarts, get the timing right or wrong.
Oh, look at that! Big dust cloud kicked up.
You know, Dempsey definitely pulling the trigger there. A little bit on the other side.
Look at Edwards. He's got a lot of company with Miller right behind him.
Yeah, and Miller's close enough to make that move. Edwards defending.
Is that fluid coming out of Miller's
he's
car?
Doing something right there. That's not a good sign for him. You got the guys behind him. They're probably on the radio, letting everybody know.
Edwards in the lead. Dempsey had weathered all those restarts until now.
Yeah, and these guys know that there is not much time left. They've got to make their moves.
So Edwards in the lead. Dempsey goes to second. Miller to third.
And everybody battling behind him for every single position.
Hall's got Ardoin up the inside on him. Here they come down to 5.
Hall's just a little bit ahead. Ardoin's not going to be able to make that one happen.
Gladys trying to fend off a handful of cars behind him as well. That's all into the top 10. Here's Ardoin. He's got Hall.
All right, now what? We see that, so we say, what's happening here? Well, maybe it's because Miller's dropping fluid.
Yeah, could be. Could be, but there's now 1 car between Miller and Hall who were separated by 1 in the championship before the day started.
You see Gladys locking up there, I think. Excuse me, that's Hall. Hall's struggling right now for grip. And again, I can't help but wonder, you know, whether Miller, you know, we saw in that opening shot, him dropping some sort of fluid.
Hall's got his own teammate to deal with. Fluid, just part of the problem.
Neither one of these teammates were real happy with the other after Portland. Hall was defensive about holding his line, needing those championship points.
Look at the battles coming under braking into Canada corner.
Leaves it really deep. That cost him a position or two.
That's Ernesto Otero that locked him up. Here you see the 5 machine of Gladys. So Ardoin, it looks like, Johnny, has reeled in Miller.
You know, Ardoin might have been saving his stuff to be strong here at the end, as you see. Edwards.
Here comes Ardoin.
Dempsey.
Look at Ardoin. Boy, he just went around him like nothing.
Yeah, Miller's got a big
he's
problem.
got a big problem. And here comes Hall. So that's going to change the championship point standings right there. You see here comes Gladys around, and Miller's gone further and further back.
Going into the last lap here, you've got Dempsey. He wants that win so bad. Edwards needs to be perfect, needs to be smooth. Watch him. He's just going to hold that left-hand side of the road all the way down there.
Trying to defend the inside, going into turn 5. A hard braking spot. Great for overtaking.
Yeah, but here's what happens. You know, Dempsey on the outside. Oh, he leaves the inside open.
He just opened the door for him.
Oh, Lord, you don't do that, the Irishman. Oh, the leprechaun's going to be happy.
And Dempsey back into the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought that Edwards was going to hold that inside line and force Dempsey outside.
Miller right out of the top 10, Johnny. A huge problem for the guy who's been very consistent so far this year.
And if you don't think Charles Hall right now is doing math in his head, you just don't know racing. As you see right there, you had Ardoin getting a little bit wide. Edwards still fighting back. Now what he needs to do, he needs to stay on the gearbox of Dempsey. Oh, Dempsey came out of the carousel.
Great.
Really strong.
Yes, he did. And that's going to kill any shot that Edwards had at Canada corner.
I guarantee you there is no way either of those two drivers lifted for that very fast kink right there.
Or the ones behind them, for that matter.
Right now, Dempsey just needs to hit his marks, needs to be perfect. Edwards taking a little bit of a look to the inside.
Look at this. Here comes Gladys. Trying to get around Ardoin, can't get it done.
Not close enough. Hall doing a good job. Right now, he's thinking, you know, survive, keep these guys behind me. It's so hard to make a pass here before start-finish using the draft.
Because Hall doesn't know how far back Miller has dropped. Here comes Dempsey. Trying to get his first win of the year. He's led the majority of the day, lost the lead on the restart, got it back, and claims the win. Our 5th different winner in 6 races here in 2008.
Unbelievably awesome job by him. You know, again, he should have had a win. He dominated over that first race at Portland. A lot of redemption for him coming here, you know, having the lead, leading the most laps.
Problem at the checkers. That's the 48 machine, Christy Kester. And I can't see who that is. It's the 88 car that she's involved with there. That's Bobby Caldwell.
And she is like putting her hands up like, what the heck was that about?
Well, she said she wants to be a doctor, and she might want to go do a little surgery on him right now.
You know what? And she, you know, she took a look there. She's limping a little bit. You know, it always hurts.
Well, she hurt her ankle a little bit there, didn't there? Going into the wall. Well, that was a pretty good lick, Johnny.
Yeah, no, she definitely took a shot there. I mean, you are flying. You know, the one thing TV doesn't do justice to is how fast you are going in these cars.
Could it be one of those situations where she crossed the line, lifted off the gas, and he was too close and didn't react?
Or the other situation. You don't know what happened there, but we do know that Peter Dempsey, man, the young man from Ireland, has his first win.
And we'll talk to him and a bunch of the others when we come back. Well, now the active place, along with the hillsides, is going to be Victory Lane. And look at the top 10, and guess who's not in there? Joel Miller. Changes in the championship standings, but first let's meet our winner.
Peter Dempsey, the most lead changes of any race so far this season. You passed on the last lap. Describe all that action.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. The team did a fantastic job. It's such a difficult weekend in Portland. And to come through here, like, we really struggled in testing, and we decided to change the engine. And I mean, the guys did a great job. I want to thank the Anderson race team, especially Dan and Roger and the crew. I mean, the sponsors unfortunately weren't here this weekend, but me and Anthony Murray's helped me all the way this year, and without him I probably wouldn't be here.
All right, so very excited, Peter Dempsey.
And the emotion's starting to get to him, Johnny.
Yeah, very cool, man. I like this kid. He's got composure, and he's pushing hard every time.
and Joel Miller dropped all the way to 19th. Let's head back to Jamie.
John Edwards, looked like you had it in the bag up until the last point. Describe the pass from your seat.
Well, Peter was definitely faster than I was, and especially in the straights. And, I pushed and got by him on the restart. I was hoping they would throw the flag when they threw one to go. Unfortunately, I knew he was there, and I was pushing like crazy. But fortunately for me, he's behind me in the points, so I wasn't going to try and run on the outside of him. I thought I could get a run on him in the carousel, but just got a little too much dirty air, too much understeer, and had to lift. So I'm happy with second. It's the next best after winning, but unfortunately just couldn't come away with the top point today.
Edwards had said that restarts would have been key, and he was right, and he almost pulled it off.
You know what? What they needed to do was watch when my teammate Jan Magnussen passed me on a last lap. He'd have learned something.
Well, let's go back down to victory lane. Here's Jamie.
Charles Hall started 5th. A successful day for you. Lots of action out on the track. How was it from your seat?
Oh, it's been an action-packed weekend from the word go. We had a good car, and we had in practice the car was perfect. Qualifying, we had a little bit of a problem with the front wing, but anyway, we put that back. We knew we were going to have a fairly good car in the race, but with the restarts all the time, the car wasn't quite hooked up on the cold tyres, so we struggled a little bit. But anyway, I'd like to thank everyone on the team for hard work, everything they've done. Pete Mercier, my engineer, Alan, my mechanic. But Goodyear, they've done a great job with the tyre. The tyre's perfect, and Mazda, if it wasn't for their support, I wouldn't be here racing. So I just want to thank everyone at Mazda from the top to the bottom. They do a great job promoting all the series.
Here's a look at the expert points, which that race today was won by J.W. Roberts, and he closes to within 18 now of Chris Cumming in that championship fight within a fight. Chuck Hulse won the Masters division, and he is now 12 markers in front of Jerry Kraut. And Chuck is standing by with Jamie.
Chuck Hulse, your 4th Masters win of the season. A lot of action out on track. How were you able to bring home another one?
It was a very busy racetrack out there. A lot of cars went wheel to wheel and were locking wheels. That really wasn't necessary. But before all that, I'd like to thank the people of Wisconsin. What a great place to come. And I just felt like so proud to be part of the USA when I started this race. What a neat deal. As far as the race goes, very busy race. Fought tooth and nail. Managed to come home with a victory.
Well, here's the overall points. Charles Hall was 1 behind Joel Miller when the day started. He's now 15 in front of him and 13 in front of Tom Gladys, his teammate.
Yeah, but when you start dropping a race, man, again, you're going to need that pocket calculator to figure things out. Paul, though, showing that consistency is how you win championships. He's really going to have to step up, though, to keep these guys behind him the rest of the season.
If you can't read a good Stephen King novel, you can always tune in for our next race at Trois Rivières right here on Speed. That'll be round number 7.
A lot of street racing. You never know what's going to happen there. Peter Dempsey, though, he was dominant today. An awesome race.
For Jamie Howe and Johnny O'Connell, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Road America, and congratulations to first-time winner Peter Dempsey.